Hello, my name's Ken Willett. Currently, I serve as a member of the Select Board here in the town of Ware and also on the Finance Committee. Today, I'm joined by Richard Fly, who is the chairperson for our town Finance Committee, and also Stuart Beckley, our town manager. And what we wanted to do today is to give you a brief overview about our process for our upcoming annual town meeting. Our annual town meeting is going to take place on June the 8th, 6:30 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Very important date to mark on your calendar tonight. Just at the completion of this, please go to your calendar, mark the date, put it in your phone, put a sticky memo on your dog's forehead, whatever you have to do. But remember this date and be sure you mark it down. June the 8th, 6:30 p.m. at the Ware High School will be our annual town meeting. Now, what happens at annual town meeting? I'm sure many of you watching this have participated in town meeting for many years, but I'm hoping there's a number of you who this might be your first time, or you're a recent resident of Ware, or you've decided to go for the first time. So we want to give you a brief overview of town meeting to help you understand what's about to happen, how you can participate, and what you can expect. Now, I'll bring to your attention that our town moderator is Kathy Colomb. Kathy's been our town moderator for many years, and her job is to run town meetings. She stands up on the stage behind a podium, and she basically enforces the rules of order of how we conduct town meeting. Not how we decide the vote, not what the vote is, not what the articles are, but how you get a collection of people brought together in a singular place to conduct the business of the town in an orderly and efficient manner. Now, if you're on Facebook, Kathy has posted on Facebook a very good guide to town meeting practices and procedures, what you can expect as an attendee, what she will be doing in her job, and we will be posting a link to that on the town website so you can have that as a primer. That information will also be available in hard copy at town meeting. So, congratulations, you've made the decision to attend our annual town meeting on June the 8th at 6:30 p.m. in the high school. You're going to go into the lobby of the auditorium. You will be greeted by tables with registrars who are going to ask you for your street address and your name. They will match that information against the town's registered voter database. If you are a registered voter, you will be allowed to participate in annual town meeting and to vote on the articles. To do that, they're going to give you a clicker, little electronic device. And you'll take that clicker with you into the auditorium, and as a vote is called on a particular article, you'll be able to use that clicker to register a yes vote or a no vote. And through the magic of technology, that is all tabulated, and then the results are displayed when the vote is called for and closed, and you're able to see in real time how did people vote and whether the article passed or not.
It's important to also point out that it is a very secure private vote. Nobody
Yes.
knows how you vote. All that is tabulated is the totals. Your name doesn't show up other than when they're checking that everybody's clickers are working by number, not by name. So it's as secure, maybe even more secure than going into the ballot box.
Not only that, compared to previous town meetings, it has increased, and I'll use the term speed, how quickly we can record votes and move from article to article to article. Now, why is that important? Well, your time is very important to you. We have 34 articles on the upcoming town meeting warrant. To cover 34 articles of town business, and there will be discussion, and there will be information shared back and forth and different viewpoints, it's going to take a little bit of time. So anything that the town could do to make it a smoother, faster, more efficient process really resulted in better participation, because we didn't have town meetings that went on for hours, and well, it might go on for hours and hours, but not for like 5 hours. And there have been times where town meeting in Ware had so much business to conduct that the moderator at a certain hour would look and say, okay, we've been at this for 3.5, 4 hours, takes a poll of the attendees, and could close business for that night and then reconvene a second night. But that hasn't happened in some time. So we're hoping to be able to get all of this business done in a single night. Now, if you are not a registered voter and you do want to participate in town meeting, you're in luck. You can do that too. When? June the 8th, 6:30 p.m. at the Ware High School. Go into the lobby to the registration table. They're going to ask you, or you're going to give them your name and your address. If you do not appear in the registered voter database, you will be given a tag to identify you as a non-voting member of town meeting. That allows you to sit in a designated section within the auditorium and to hear all the debate or the discussion, to see the votes taking place. You can't vote. But if you're so moved that you have something to say on a particular item, you can approach the microphone, wait for the town moderator, for Kathy Colomb, to recognize you, identify yourself, that you're not a town meeting voter, but you would like to speak on the issue, and Kathy will ask you some questions and make a determination if she will allow that. There's a process for that. Now, the reason is that a registered voter is the people who by law are entitled to vote at town meeting. That's the way we manage that. But you're still welcome to attend and participate our annual town meeting. And when is that? It is June the 8th, 6:30 p.m. at the Ware High School. So, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about how do we communicate to you, the public, about town meeting? Stuart, what is the first step in getting information about what's going to be discussed at town meeting out to the community?
So the first and most comprehensive step is what we call the packet for town meeting, which incorporates all the questions that will be asked to the voters, the full town meeting budget, information about each article, and a detailed message about the budget. So that's compiled. It should be prepared by May 29th and posted on the website. We'll put awareness both by a townwide phone call and on the town's Facebook, letting people know where it is and the link to get to it on the town's website.
So Stuart just mentioned a couple of ways that we're going to promote the availability of the warrant. And the warrant is in the town meeting package. That has not only the articles, but also the dollar figures attached to those articles, if so needed. It also has the funding source, if there's money that's going to be moved in the article. It also has the recommendations of the relevant town boards and committees and how they recommended, how they voted to either support or not support the article. For example, the select board vote is illustrated. The finance committee vote on financial articles is illustrated. The town manager's recommendation is illustrated. On articles involving our wastewater and water enterprise for capital improvements, the capital infrastructure committee vote will be recommended. And on major capital projects, that being large vehicles and investments that are going to require bonding or funding over many years, our capital planning committee will have their recommendation reported. So that gives you an idea of what the committees that support the select board and Stuart in the management of the town, how they feel about the particular article, giving you some thought about how you may want to think about it. So all of that information comes together. Stuart said it's going to be available in a couple of places. Number one, we're going to post it on the town website. Number two, we're going to utilize the town robocall system, which is our emergency notification system, where if you are entered in the database, you will get a phone call at your home from the town manager, whatever number you gave them, cell phone, work phone, home phone, you name it, they all can be included. And through that system, you will be alerted to the availability of it and where to go find it. So I mentioned the town website. And did we say we're going to post it on the Facebook page for the town as well?
The link.
Yeah, we will post the link to this on the Town of Ware Facebook page. And I'm very grateful. I think Richard and Stuart echo this appreciation that we have a couple of other community Facebook pages that will take those links and repost them, as well as individuals who repost it. Folks, we need all your help getting this information out. We understand the big decisions that have to be made and how you want to be informed. So anything you can do to get the information that the pre-town meeting packet is available. The town meeting packet is available. When you get the phone call, when you see it on Facebook, when you see it posted, anything you can do to get that out, we appreciate the help because we need your help. And we appreciate your help in getting people to attend our annual town meeting. And Richard, when is our annual town meeting?
I believe it's June 8th at 6:30 p.m. in the high school auditorium, Ken.
Thank you, Richard. And Stuart, when people attend our annual town meeting on June 8th in the high school auditorium at 6:30 p.m., where should they go to register?
The auditorium lobby to the registrars.
Auditorium lobby to the registrars. Okay, so let's get in. Go ahead,
One thing
Richard.
in. When you show up, they'll have copies of the warrant, but I encourage people to get the warrant, review the warrant, and be prepared to come with questions. If there's something in the town budget that you have a question about, an overall question or specific items that are in that budget, come prepared. It's hard to follow town meeting and also look through the detail at the same time. So I encourage everybody to,
It's a really good point.
2 or 3 days before the meeting or the day of the meeting, whatever fits your time schedule, to really review the warrant and look through that budget and be ready to come and be an active citizen because you are the legislative body of the town of Ware. We can put budgets together. We can propose all sorts of programs and spending and great things for the town, but it all has to pass muster with the citizens. You have the ultimate power, not the select board, not the finance committee, not the town manager, the people of Ware.
And just a teaser, we are doing a follow-on program to this program. The follow-on program will be a deeper dive into the town of Ware budget that's going to be voted at town meeting. So we are only going to talk very high level about the articles in the budget in this little segment here. But look on your TV schedule and look at Ware Public TV. Look at the Town of Ware website for the link to not only the Town Meeting 101, but also to the Town of Ware annual operating budget, which will be the follow-on program that will be talking more in depth about the budget articles. Stuart, can you just kind of summarize? There's a couple of different types of articles that appear on the town meeting warrant that deal with funding from previous years, that deal with just routine business, as well as some of the omnibus section of the budget, and then those sections that deal with next fiscal year's activities. Can you just give a high overview of that, please?
Sure. They're kind of grouped into 3 or 4 sections. We used to have a special town meeting before the annual town meeting to deal with the present year's budget. What we've combined it as one meeting to be more time efficient, but as you see the warrant, you'll notice it's divided between fiscal year 26, which is the current year, and fiscal year 27, which is most of the articles in the budget that we'll be voting on. So the first 4, 5 articles are what would have been in special town meeting and addressed some older bills and some adjustments to this year's budget, as well as some annual appropriation to our reserve funds. And then there's a second section, which is called the consent agenda, which are the articles 6 through 12, 13, which are the articles that are the same every year. And as a matter of efficiency, they are brought up as a lump. If at any time any voter has a question on any one of them, they'll be pulled out and addressed separately. But otherwise, those 7 articles can be voted all at once, all together. And they include approval of grants for both the town and the school department and Pathfinder, as well as road repair money and budgets for elected officials. And then the next 3 articles are the 3 budget articles, the water, the sewer, and the overall town budget. The moderator, particularly the town budget, will review in detail, allowing voters to go through line by line or department by department if they have questions. If there are questions, the moderator graciously comes back to each one and here's the questions, so people can consider the overall budget. And then this year, there are a couple of articles that don't deal with funding. One is the review of the charter, which is, again, we can talk about more in the second edition. And then there's a series of a dozen capital articles, money spending on larger things. There are a couple articles for vehicles. There are several articles for water and sewer infrastructure. So those all come together. And then there are a couple closeout articles about opinions on the state, how to direct our legislators to tackle a couple of problems. So overall, that's how town meeting's broken out over the 34 articles that you mentioned.
Stuart, what's the criticality of getting town meeting to support the financial articles, in particularly the budgets for town government and the water and wastewater enterprise budgets?
So without budgets, without approved budgets, the departments cannot spend money. Can break it up into smaller segments, but we don't want to get that. The approval of budget, whether as presented or as modified, is necessary to get approval before the next fiscal year, which is July 1st, in order to the services to be provided by each department.
Mm-hmm. And Richard, Stuart used the word for services provided by each department. Now, I know at the Finance Committee, you spent a lot of time with the department heads before we get to this extent. Can you talk a little bit about that conversation with the department heads during their budget presentations to you? And what does that mean as we talk about services being provided for approved budgets?
Yeah, Stuart starts communicating with the department heads at the November, December timeframe before the following year budget. Let's remember, our budget runs from July 1st to June 31st every year. So the end of our fiscal year is the end of next month. So voting on the budget now is what enables us to run the town starting July 1st. But during the course of January and February, the departments are working on their budgets, on the guidance they're getting from Stuart, from the challenges we see ahead, what we know to be investments we need to make, or areas where we can cut back, all of those things. So during the months of March and April, the Finance Committee meets twice a week for every other week, so that each of the department heads comes in to see us. So the police chief and the fire chief come in, DPW, Parks and Rec, the library, they all come and talk through what their budget needs are, what they presented, sort of what they're beginning to agree upon, so that we can ask questions. They can let us know what their priorities are and why they think these things need to be funded, why they should be presented to town meeting. I should remind people that it's called the Finance Committee, but in effect, it's an advisory committee, because we don't make the budget. We're not ultimately accountable for the budget. We're there to advise the town manager and the Board of Selectmen on the budget, and to, I think, provide some guidance or alternative thinking, to question things, or even to bring up things that maybe haven't been discussed. So that 2-month period is sort of how we get the rest of the budget in shape, and which Stuart then begins to finalize. We've had a little extra time this year because we've moved town meeting from its usual position in early May to early June, which has been a good thing, because we've had a few little blips here and there that have complicated the process. So that when we do come to town meeting, we're coming with something that's fully baked, that we believe we can reasonably explain to the voters as the right thing for them to vote on. But ultimately, it is your role as a voter in Ware to look at that budget and give us your opinion on what it should be. And I would encourage, in future years, we have our posted Finance Committee meetings, and with the rare exception, we don't have anybody there. And then I sometimes hear people complain that they don't have insight into the budget process. And I guarantee you that if you came to some of our meetings where we're talking with the departments and where Stuart's explaining things, you would have more insight into the process. So in future years, if you feel like you haven't been brought up to speed on the budget, or it's coming to you so late in the process, get engaged early, or reach out if you don't know when the meetings are, and we'll let you know when the meetings are. Because I think the better informed people are early on, the better this whole process works.
It's a great opportunity to learn the details of departments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's your town meeting, it's your budget, and it's your finance committee, and we want your involvement. The town needs your involvement. We need your involvement by participating in the discussion, by taking advantage when the information is posted so that you review it prior to town meeting. Now, we will acknowledge that information can be distributed in many different ways today. We acknowledge that. And we know we can look for ways to distribute information perhaps better than we're doing now. I shouldn't say better, I should say more ways to get it out there. So what would be helpful is give us some feedback. Where would you like to find this information? Where do you go for this information? So that we can do a better job of getting the information in your hands so that you can be an informed voter at your annual town meeting. When is annual town meeting, Stuart?
Monday, June 8th, 6:30 p.m. at Ware High School Auditorium.
And Richard, who do we need at the Ware annual town meeting on June 8th?
Stuart. Oh, no, the voters.
Conrad.
Yes.
As many voters as the fire marshal will allow us to cram into the high school auditorium.
Yes, we have seen numbers vary, and our minimum quorum was 100. The select board, to ensure we could have a town meeting, we dropped it to 80. The good news is we have been trending over 100, but it would be good to have more than 100 voters deciding the budget and these other important articles. So we welcome everybody who can attend to join us and to be part of the discussion on June 8th, 6:30 p.m. at the Ware High School for our annual town meeting. Thanks so much for taking this time, and pay attention for the follow-on segment, which is going to be about the Town of Ware operating budget. Thanks, everyone. See you at town meeting.